Hello everyone, I'm Roberto and they are my student. We come from a high school in Italy called Liceo Scientifico GB Grassi in Saronno, near town, a town near Milan. The right title of our presentation should be Why Not Teach APL? The Art of Teaching Without Teaching. Teaching without teaching is a method, is a strategy to make teaching and education more effective nowadays. It is also a way to reach happiness through mathematics. Second, not teach APL means showing the APL powers without doing too much theory. It also means making sure that students used to a critical use of APL. And now, let Pietro to introduce ourselves.
Just one moment. Okay, so our story. All began in the late 2017 when Roberto substituted our math teacher and presented the new APL project in our school. Back in the days, me and Alessandro were just Python lovers and knew nothing about this other strange working and impossible to read language. The teacher showed us some mind-blowing tricks with it, and it straight away caught our hearts. We took place in the project and attended the lessons. That year, and also the following, we ended up writing in APL even during other lessons. It definitely made them less boring. We tried our best even in the APL contest, without success, but we tried and it was pretty fun. For about 2 months we've met at least twice a week at school, even when the classes stopped, just to work together on problems and try to learn to use new operators. We weren't, and still are, not much good with APL, but we are aiming to continue practicing for a long time. And about 5 months ago, an idea came in our minds. We thought it would have been interesting, a team contest based both on math and APL. Roberto, as well as being an incredible teacher, is also a riddle lover and expert. His rate and experience were essential to the project. Alessandro's abilities, instead in coding, gave birth to the server we are now using for the contest. Me and Gabriele instead helped developing the algorithms that hide behind all the lines of code. Now, okay, this is the main algorithm for the score. As you can see, it's composed by 3 parts, mainly. Which one is the riddle weight, another one the attempts, and the third one the time bonus. Now, the riddle weight. I'd say this is the most unusual component of the 3. We took part in many competitions, and we always noticed that the value for every problem was static. He who chose the riddles thought about their respective difficulty and gave them different values based on that. Instead, we think that difficulty is subjective and therefore can't be evaluated by anyone before the competition starts. So every problem in our contest has the exact same value at the beginning. That value will be adjusted during the game itself. The algorithm recalculates the base value depending on the ratio of solution over total teams. So every right answer submitted for a problem will decrease its difficulty and consequently its value. Not only for those who will solve it next, but also for those who already solved it. That means that if you solve a certain problem, you both get points and decrease others too. If all teams solve that problem, its base value will become null, and therefore it won't affect anyone's score. This is the curve. This is the curve on which the riddle weight is based. As you can notice, it's neither a straight line nor an hyperbole. The slope will be pretty inconvenient if you solve Just can't keep the eyes straight. Okay. Okay, this loop will be pretty inconvenient in the case certain problems has less solution, because the value will decrease faster, right here. On the other side, though, it will be generous in the case a problem has a lot of solutions, because the value will decrease a lot slower in this part. We can say that you are advantaged if you solve a really difficult problem, and at the same time, not so penalized if you solve an easier one. Okay. Time bonus. And this competition, being fast, is well rewarded. Only in the first half of the competition, a time bonus will be added to every problem you manage to solve. This value will gradually decrease during that period till reaching 0 at exactly half the time. This is just a kind of a countdown. As you see, is a straight line whose slope depends on the total amount of time available for the game. There is another variable, which is the attempts. Now, another feature of our score system is the possibility of using more than just one attempt to solve a problem. Normally, when taking part in a competition, you won't be able to know whether one of your answers is correct or wrong until the game is finished. Also, a wrong solution won't give you a single point. So even if at first sight our system seems too harsh, it is actually much more open-ended than others. Of course, more tries means less points gained, and more precisely, the reward will be divided by the number of attempts you used. This will allow to gain some score even after failing 1, 2, or 3 times. Of course, the more the fails, the more will be inconvenient to continue trying.
Okay.
Now,
well, why we are at the conference this year? Mainly for a book, The Puzzle Ninja, written by Alex Bellos 2 years ago. The author traveled to Japan to meet the most brilliant competitors, solvers, inventors, and puzzle makers. As we know, puzzles are a goldmine for APL implementation. It is also a way for testing APL thinking. Tetsuya Miyamoto is one of the protagonists of this book. He is an inspiring teacher who uses puzzle to train his students to do maths. I'm a teacher, but I don't like teaching. In fact, I don't teach. The art of teaching without teaching is my way. Is my way is the point. Do you want an happy life as a teacher? To reach this, you should follow your way. Many teachers ask themselves, am I a good teacher or not? It could be a wrong question. The right question could be, what is the meaning of teaching today? Instead of giving a straight answer, Miyamoto goes around. Do you think that students become smarter after careful explanation? No, not at all. After a careful explanation, they have the illusion that they can understand, but they cannot solve a problem by themselves. If a careful explanation was enough, the teaching is an easy job, but it isn't so. We move the focus on students. How can I make my students smarter? Giving them interesting problems. Finding good problems, it's not easy. You need a lot of experience. But if you do that, you did the most of the job. Then teaching can solve problems themselves, each at his or their own speed, and no one has been forced to do anything. Doing this, you have to change the rule of teacher. Before giving theory in a vertical way, the teaching become maintaining a positive and challenging environment. Playing with puzzle is fun, but you have to manage success and failing. Students feel too good when they solve problems, and they feel too bad when they fail. Managing those troubles is a part of teaching today. The essence of mathematics is to think long and deep, and APL is a tool of truth. Then we can conclude that APL is a way to progress yourself in studying mathematics and coding. That's true, but not enough. The problem is that having a default strategy in problem solving could be a big risk. To avoid this risk, I and my student designed a contest which is not clear in advance if APL is better than a mind approach. So, a Puzzle League is the name of our contest, is a challenge to mix mathematical skills, coding skills, and social skills together. And now Gabriele speaks about problem and solution.
Good morning. We choose the contest format because we think it's a good educational path in which you act following your ideas and your instinct. In this way, you had also to take the responsibility of your results. Okay, grid puzzles cover a main part of our competition. They are fun and can be easily transposed in APL with a matrix. The best way to solve them is both by hand and with coding. They also have simple rules, and these make them easily to understand. To solve these problems, you first had to identify freebies. Freebies are mandatory steps due to puzzle rules, and you had not to think a lot of them. So you can base your code on these. These let you simplify the problems and helps you to solve it by hand. Okay, not all riddles are suitable to solve with APL. So you had to identify before if coding could be helpful and in which way. APL is very good for field puzzles like this, and on the other hand is not completely suitable for connection puzzle, in which you had to connect elements on the grid. Also, in some problems, like combinations, it helps you only with calculus. And in others, it doesn't help at all. Now that it seems, in this problem, you need to think different, to think outside the box. The solution is simple, but not so intuitive. The first time I saw this, I spent 15 minutes trying to solve it, but I can't. And when I was given the solution, I was like, oh, really? It's so simple? This, on the other hand, should be the perfect puzzle. It's a good problem because you had not to repeat steps every time. and is a good compromise between the particular, so the intersection between row and columns, and the body of the problem, the main part of the problem, so the sketch. And now I'll present you Alessandro that will explain you the code.
So, hi everyone, I'm Alessandro, and I'm a carbon-based life form that turns coffee into code. I've always enjoyed code, and I'm always studying something about IT. I was mastering my Python skill when I first met Roberto. He walked into my classroom with some of his strange-looking puzzles, and it was the first time that I met APL. It was awesome. I couldn't realize how you can give such a complex instruction to the computer to solve with that few lines. And of course, at first, Roberto's solution was unreadable. I couldn't even imagine that Unicode has that characters in it. But I was fascinated from it. So I decided to attend the APL course after school, and a whole world opened to me. APL is really, really awesome. It makes me think about the real mathematical logic behind a puzzle before I can even start to code on it. It pushes me further. But as I already said, I'm a student. Of course, I'm not a developer. That's why I apologize, my talk won't be specifically about code, but you can take it as a travel book of my first experience in developing an app for the first time, from head to toe. So, our project is MathMaze, and it is a site that allows you to publish and play all sorts of contests. Since the server crashed Monday, Pietro will now show you how you were supposed to to use it. Oh, sorry.
He's the developer, so yeah. Okay. So this is the main page. Okay. This is the main page when you can log in and sign up. Of course, now I already made an account, even though I couldn't use it. So this is so uncomfortable. So thank you. Okay, let's hope so. Okay. You have to enter a contest code, and so you can join a server for a contest. Let's wait for the PDF. Okay, yes. Yes, this is what it was supposed to look. I think it's quite enjoyable to watch, but very few people had the honor. So you can see there are a lot of pages with the problems, the explanation of the rules, and here in the bottom there is a form in which you can type your answers. This form will be all the strings written in this form will be sent to APL, will be fed to APL, and so you can also give a APL solution as like a function that will be then fed to APL and return a value. If the value matches the right answer, you'll get a point. Can I? Qual è la risposta? Zio? Okay, that is the correct answer. Yeah, they can't see it. I think it's a matrix in APL, so it's some numbers row, a vector. Now let's try. It will need some time, maybe. It's thinking. Yeah.
This laptop isn't.
Yeah, it's my laptop now. The problem.
It is, I swear.
Okay, yeah, we got it. As you can see, now it is green, and so it means that the solution was correct. If it wasn't, it would have been red. Now, how can I get into the leaderboard tab? Okay, yeah. This is the leaderboard tab of the other evening. As you can see, the Adam team won. And yeah, also in the leaderboard you can see which problem a certain team has solved and which they tried to solve. The black ones are those on which they didn't have answer. We explained how the leaderboards work, but it's pretty long because there's something that it's quite strange about it, and we'll just develop more and adjust some features of it. Now back to Alessandro.
So, 1 second. That I have to. Yeah. Okay. So, this idea came to us when we were guessing how to give you a ranking for the contest that we hosted. We thought that we couldn't rely on pen and paper because it would have caused a lot of problems. And also, it would not have been allowed us to project you a real-time leaderboard. We based that same leaderboard on the algorithm that Pietro explained, and we consider it pretty fair. Another important consequence of a real-time leaderboard is that it stimulates competition. Okay. At the beginning of the development, I was faced with a huge question. Taking the shortest and simplest way, relying on a Django, that's a widely tested high-level Python web framework, or the more tortuous and rewarding one, relying on my server. APL is a magnificent tool, and it allows you to think about the mathematical processes to reach the most elegant solution. But it puts the stick in your wheels if you don't master the language perfectly. That's why I was tempted to choose APL, but I couldn't. Unfortunately, my confidence with the my server was not enough to fully trust it. Python would have me provided with more documentation and above all the help of more users on stackoverflow.com. And yeah, if you're wondering, I really love that site. In MathMaze, therefore, it is Django that deals with requests, authentication, admin interfaces, and much more. So, having a Python web server, I required a way to handle APL solutions. Of course, for the Python interpreter, they would have been only meaningless strings. So that's why I had to use an interface between Dyalog and Python. And I used the Dyalog's Py'n'APL one. And it is a godsend. Simple and intuitive. You just git clone, a bit of reading, and then you're ready to go. So we had a lot, and I mean a lot of problems since we first came here. First, more and more bad things started to happen to our code. But, I mean, at first we had an error with that caused static files not to be loaded, and then Wi-Fi issues, and then the server completely crashed. But this is not the point. This didn't stop us. And with some hard work and a lot of paper sheets, we managed to carry out the contest anyway. So we really hope that it was enjoyable at some level. And we think that failure is just another step into the right way. And we are not demoralized in any way. Actually, we feel a lot encouraged to keep on improving and continue developing MathMaze. Here we go with Roberto.
And our references, that's all. Thank you for listening. Questions? Okay.
If you have any question, you can.
Oh, thank you. It was fun.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, even with the crashes and stuff. the puzzles were still fun.
Okay, thanks.
So I was a little bit confused. There was a slide saying coding discouraged you from understanding the fundamental nature of the problem, but then I think you said the opposite. Which is it? Does
You're asking me if coding helped me or not?
There was a slide that said, one of the early slides.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah, that one.
This? Which one?
I'm not there.
The last bullet points. There were that one. The third bullet point there. Coding leads to not think deeply to analyze the real issue of a problem. And one of the differences I found personally with APL is that...
Yeah, I was talking about Python.
You were talking about Python?
Yeah. I was talking about Python. That's why I wrote it. Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the main differences I find. I've been doing a talk now every year in Bangalore where I team up with a guy who does stuff in Python or another language. And we found that this is actually one of the key differences between writing in APL and other languages, is that other languages encourage you to try and decompose the problem into small pieces, and you lose the big picture.
It is.
The other thing I want to say is feedback on the site. It would be really good to see how the points were allocated. So you get your green thing.
Okay.
But it would be nice to know you scored so many points here because you were
in
number
fact,
2.
One of the updates that we will make, it's kind of log with some push notifications or where you can see how many points you gained.
Great.
I love playing with language, so decomposing Python, dissecting Python. But why I came up here, I would make a subtle distinction in English.
Okay.
I would call it teaching without instruction, because we also have a saying in English, experience is the best teacher.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have 2 questions. The first one is quite technical, or like more technical at least.
Okay.
How do you handle, so if you are able to run APL on the site, that's quite dangerous. How do you limit it to something that's not dangerous and won't eat your performance?
For now, it didn't. I don't do it, but I should do it, yeah, of course.
And the second question is, I guess I could use your site to host my own competitions.
You can,
with
absolutely.
my own problems, but will you host open competitions or provide problems or do anything of that sort?
For now, it's completely open. I mean, you can create contests, and then it will ask you for riddles. You can set the rules in HTML format, and then you can upload a PDF and the right solution, and it will completely work fine.
Okay.
It is all databases stuff.
So it's both an answer to Alve and a tip for you.
Okay.
we have bumped into exactly the same problem. We have try APL.
Yeah.
We'd rather not have people write quad auth or quad CMD or something like that, right? And also we had the problem solving competition. We were also executing things. There are two different ways that these systems work, and both of them are available on GitHub. You can just download and use them.
Okay.
So the tribal one uses something, a safe executor that uses a whitelist of permitted APL tokens. If you Google Dyalog safe execute, you'll find it.
Okay.
And the student competition offloads all user code to try it online. So it'll be their problem if something happens.
Okay.
And you should be able to find that as well. I have a GitHub repository that has an operator that just allows you to send anything to try it online.
Okay, I will read it. Thanks. Any more questions or? No. Okay. I guess that we finished.
Thank you.
Thank you.